Good morning, my American Studies 140 students. This is Professor Donald Earl Collins. It is Monday, May 18th, 2020, the time being approximately 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Wherever you are in the world, good morning or good evening or happy Tuesday, I guess, if you're in Australia and New Zealand. Um, this is the start of our Washington, D.C. Life Inside the Monument course. Um, Truth is, this course is designed so that students will take in Washington, D.C. while being students at American University. Go out there, go to different communities, go on tours, go do the usual touristy kinds of stuff, but also do some serious stuff around learning more about Washington and its surrounding suburbs in Maryland and Virginia. Learn about community development, learn about issues that might involve community development with racism, sexism, homophobia, or conversely, building and construction and art and music and the like. All of those things as part of the larger, multi-layered, onion-like culture that is the DMV, the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. So I just want to reassure you that I've tried to make this course as user-friendly as possible while recognizing the fact we can't do everything. You can't do tours. You can't do research on the ground, interview people, do man on the street kinds of things. You won't be working in person with me or with your classmates on different projects. That's what this course is designed for in an ideal setting, but we don't have that as an option due to the pandemic. That's just the truth of it. So what I want to do is make sure that you understand that course is designed for this summer to be an online course. And that means you won't have nearly as much stuff to do in terms of on the ground stuff, but you'll have more stuff to do. Not so much in terms of readings, because this is a 6-week course anyway, but in terms of audio-visual stuff, films that you could watch, films I've already assigned for you to watch, recordings that you'll be able to listen to. I'll be doing video recordings to summarize the lecture notes I provided you, so you won't have to sit through a 2-hour lecture twice a week with me in order to get the information. You can read the lecture and I will summarize material for you. Those sorts of things. So in short, what you have to do over the next 6 weeks besides read and so on, read, watch, listen for things, excuse me for a second, is that you have 3 reflections to do. Your first reflection, which is due at the end of the first week, is really about your first impressions of what you think, or who do you think DC is, culturally speaking, historically, and otherwise. I imagine most of you will probably give me an answer something along the lines of, I came to DC when I was 15 years old and I got to see the Lincoln Memorial and everything was great, and I went to this other museum and did this other event, and so on and so forth. That's only one aspect of what DC is, but it's your first impression, so I expect you to give a first impression and contrast it with whatever you might be beginning to learn in the readings. So hopefully what you'll be doing in the readings is your eyes might be open. Hey, I didn't know this was part of DC culture. Oh, I didn't know that was part of DC history. Oh, I didn't know that happened, kind of thing. So that's what I expect in your first reflection. Your second reflection is more a follow-up on that with more reading oriented, meaning what you've learned, what was eye-opening, what you have questions about, what you just caught you off guard, like, I can't believe that happened, kind of stuff. What excited you in terms of the readings, basically for weeks 2 and 3. So there's that. And then your final reflection, sort of reflecting on what you've learned over the previous 5 or 6 weeks, due at the end of the course, which will be, but probably a couple days before the actual end, which I think is June 25th on the schedule. So that's one. 2 is a paper that will be due at the end of week 4. This paper will cover the issue of gentrification in Washington in the last 20 or 25 years, DC in the last 25 years, the impact of gentrification, and the inequalities that gentrification exposes across different communities. Access to public services, access to healthy food, access to adequate housing, access to jobs, and so on and so forth. And the differences between the different wards in DC around those themes. And you will have the one book that you are supposed to read for this class, which is Ashante Reese's book, Black Food Geographies. It's sort of the centerpiece for this paper assignment you'll be doing. I'll be assigning 1 or 2 questions for you to look at. You'll pick from one of those 2, write a 4 to 6 page essay, submit that, and hand it in. Submit it as a Word file, due at the end of week 4, which I think is Sunday, June the 14th. And then week 5, you will have a project proposal due, where you've been working for maybe a couple of weeks off and on, putting together a 2 to 4 page proposal about what you would hope to have done for this course, and writing on a particular issue, a particular theme, a particular topic, a particular problem around the DMV or Washington, D.C. itself. It could be anything. Movie theaters, decriminalization of marijuana, sex trafficking, could be about food cultures, could be about how DC's handling the COVID pandemic, could be about different communities, the development of Shaw over time, the Shaw District, or the development of Anacostia or Deanwood, or, I would say the one project I don't want to see from anybody is a project on Georgetown, or a project that's about why Georgetown University is so much better than American University. I have seen too many of those projects from students who are from the States, and in some cases students from overseas as well. You're an AU student. You shouldn't really be caring about what Georgetown does and doesn't do. I don't care. Now, if you want to write about Duke Ellington High School for the Arts and the significance of it to Hollywood, and how it is born and bred Washingtonians have become great actors and musicians and artists and writers as a result of that school, that would be a cool project, and it's related to Georgetown, but it's not related to Georgetown University. You see the difference there? Good. Okay. So those are your main things to do for this course. What I'm hoping to be able to do, I have no idea if we'll be able to do it. I've sent out my announcement already, giving you guys some times for week 1. I'll give you some more for week 2 as well, but there are some caveats here. This course was originally scheduled to be Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 p.m. to 4:10 p.m. on campus. Just because I'm not on campus does not mean I'm fully available for all of those times, because guess what? It's pandemic. I'm home. I'm not a single man. I'm married. I have a kid, which means that my times aren't going to be from 1 to 4:10 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I can figure out where 2 hours are given the week. Right? This week, for instance, I know I have parts of Thursday afternoon and Friday morning and afternoon free enough to be able to actually schedule Skype for those 2 days. But I also teach at another university for this summer, at least anyway, which also means I have to share time with that course as well to be able to do online learning. So I will be giving you my schedule for this week. I've done that already, but I'll also give you a schedule for week 2 when the time comes. If there are people who have access issues, you need to let me know that. If there are a significant number of people with access issues, or a significant number of people whose times simply don't work, if you are halfway around the world, which means that it's already like 11 p.m. Beijing time, for instance, right? Or 10 p.m. Tokyo time, if you live halfway around the world, obviously there are a whole lot of times that are going to work. Maybe we could do something 7 a.m. my time, which would be 7 p.m. yours, if that's free enough for you, depending on your access issues, depending on your privacy issues. Maybe not. 3 a.m. is not going to work for me. It might be ideal for you, but I can't be up at 3 a.m. ideally and be at my best in running a discussion, even if that's a majority of you. If too many of you are scattered across time and space and place, we're going to have to consider doing asynchronous teaching, which means I can meet with you one-on-one via Skype if you want to do virtual office hours, or maybe do a few mini groups for folks who are in the States or on the East Coast or Central Time or Rocky Mountain Time. But generally speaking, I won't be able to meet with the class as a whole. We can possibly figure that out with some sort of semi-synchronous slash asynchronous teaching aspect. But I need to know what you guys know about your schedule over the next couple of weeks so we can plan that out. Okay? Trying to think. So I'm not going to be grading you guys in the same sense I normally would grade you. All of you, if you do the work, if you finish your assignments within reason in terms of time, in terms of, your reflections in, doing your paper, doing your project, and it's not 3 weeks late, there's that kind of thing, and you have, you more or less are communicating with me about what's going on with you. If you are having trouble doing your assignments, you will get either an A or an A minus, promised, period, right? If you do not do your assignments, or you turn only half of them in, that means you don't get an A or an A minus. It doesn't mean you're failing. I can't, I can't foresee failing anybody under these circumstances. But it does mean a grade probably or B plus or less. B, C plus, C even. So keep that in mind. What I want to see from folks is improvement. I'm not grading you purely on your ability to read or write, your ability to read or write in English and write well. I'm grading you, basically on whether you do the assignments, you put forth good effort, and you try to improve what you're doing from week 1 to week 6. And if you are doing that, then you will have an A or an A minus in the course period. So that's the thing I don't want people worrying about. Do not worry about that sort of thing. As long as you do your work, you'll get a good grade. Period. So there's that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really need to bring up in this opening session. I want you guys to relax and try to enjoy the ride that I'm going to take you on. It's going to be kind of intense. I'm basically doing the equivalent of 13 weeks worth of teaching, because there's a lecture that I'm not including for the summer session because there's simply not enough space or time to do it. We're doing 13 weeks worth of stuff basically in 6 weeks, and so that means some of your stuff is doubled up, and that's not going to be too much a problem for weeks 1 or weeks 1 and 2, because the course is designed to be more flexible at the beginning anyway. But 3 and 4 are going to be your weeks. 3, 4, and 5 are going to be your most intense weeks. So I want you to get in the groove of doing the reading, listening to what I've assigned for you to listen to in audiovisual stuff. Watch what you need to watch. Watch some of the docu-series and documentaries I have attached. Look at the YouTube links I provide, and so on and so forth, and you'll do fine. It should work. You have the lecture notes at hand already. You have the syllabus. I'll put the revised version up later on today, this Monday, and we'll get going. So thank you all, and hope to see you or meet with you virtually at some point this shortened semester.